Hello, students. Today we are going to take up a very notable work by Eleanor Estes, The Hundred Dresses. Here, Eleanor Estes takes up a very sensitive issue that is of discrimination on the basis of the race which Wanda Petronsky belongs to. So, the central character is Wanda Petronsky, and the story revolves around her. How she is discriminated, humiliated, and bullied by the girls, the classmates of hers, is all about 100 dresses. Wanda Petronsky is a poor Polish girl who is being bullied by her classmates. She is an immigrant to America, and how she is ridiculed for her Polish name, Wanda Petronsky, and the place she comes from, that is the poorest parts of the town, that is Boggins Height. Once she had claimed that she owned 100 dresses, and for this remark, she is regularly ridiculed, jeered at, mocked at by the classmates, by the schoolmates. And who is the one who ridicules her the most and is in the lead is Peggy. Now we are introduced to another character, Peggy. Basically, she is the most popular girl in the school, and she is quite intelligent and sits in front in the class. We get to know something about Peggy, that she is quite sensitive and she cried a lot when some animal was treated badly. She belonged to a very influential family, and that we know because she dresses quite well, and that might be a reason why she was popular among her classmates. Now, our protagonist, Wanda Petronsky, basically is a poor girl, and that we know because she is always clad in a blue dress which ill fitted her. Nobody notices her absence from the school, and the only thing they waited for was so that they can ridicule her for her claim that she had 100 dresses. Towards the end of the story, we get to know that this girl, Wanda Petronsky, is quite a talented girl, and her claim of having 100 dresses comes true because she had designed 100 dresses which are displayed in the competition which is held towards the end of the story. So we get to know that appearances are deceptive, and we human beings are quite shallow in judging others by their appearances and not by talent. So, this is the message which goes through to us by this lesson. Let's start the story. At the start of the story, it is a specific Monday, and Wanda hasn't turned up in the school. Nobody notices her absence, and basically, we get to know that she always sat at the towards the end of the class. That is, she was a backbencher, along with the boys who were quite rough. Rough means those who were indisciplined and never paid attention in the class. They had all the fun in the class and failed miserably. She did not sit at the end of the class just because she wanted to create ruckus in the class. Rather, she was very quiet and timid. She hardly ever smiled. Nobody knew why she sat at the end of the class, that is, she was a backbencher. And the writer says probably because she lived in the poorest parts of the town, that is, Boggins Heights. Wanda's absence from the class was noticed by Peggy and Maddie on the third day of her absence in a row. And this was noticed because they wanted to have fun at the expense of Wanda. That is, Peggy always led this group who had fun and mocked at Wanda Petronsky for her name, for her claim that she owned 100 dresses. Wanda Petronsky's name was quite unfamiliar to the Americans, and that is why her name was a kind of target for the ridicule. Peggy, in her mockingly courteous voice, would ask Wanda as to how many dresses she owned. And Wanda, in answer, uh, very innocently and stoically and promptly answered 100. Girls asked about the colors and the material of her dresses and about the hats and the shoes, how many shoes she owned. And Wanda plainly answered them without any irritation in her voice. This trivial game of asking dresses was started by Peggy. We get to know that Peggy didn't like anybody lying. So when she understood that Wanda might be lying about her dresses because she wore only one dress, and that too a blue dress which was faded, she couldn't believe it. And that is why she ridiculed Wanda for lying about the dresses. We are also introduced to the third character, Maddie, who is a best friend of Peggy. And we get an insight that Maddie never liked this game played by Peggy about the 100 dresses and pestering Wanda. And Maddie always wished that Peggy would stop this game of teasing Wanda and wanted Peggy to realize her mistake. But Maddie never ever summoned the courage to speak before Peggy that she was doing wrong. She once had summoned the courage of writing a letter to Peggy telling that what she did was not right, but she stopped halfway and of course tore it to pieces and threw. And why did Maddie do so? Because she didn't want to be the next target of Peggy. Maddie, we get to know that Maddie was quite a poor girl, but not as poor as Wanda. And Maddie thought that if she would convince Peggy for not ridiculing Wanda, then she would be a fresh target. Get to know that Maddie is a poor girl who obviously wore dresses which was second hand, and one such dress was of Peggy, which she didn't want to make it evident, and her mother had put some trimmings to make it look different. Then the latest event comes up in the school, that is of drawing and coloring contest, wherein the girls are to draw and color and the boys have to design motorboats. And Maddie knew that it would be Peggy who would win it because she was the best. But on the day of competition and the results were to be declared, when Peggy and Maddie entered the class, they were awestruck. They were amazed by the designs, the drawings of displayed there, and there were hundreds of dazzling and colorful dresses which were at display. These drawings of dresses awestruck them. They were captivated by these paintings, these drawings, and their teacher came out with the result, and Jack Beggles had won in the boys, and in the girls it was Wanda Petronsky who had won the competition with her 100 dresses which she drew and had colored on the canvas. At the end, everybody gets to know that Wanda Petronsky had a lot of talent within her, and she was way ahead of her classmates in her skills. So basically, the writer wants to send a message that we should not judge people by their appearances and their possessions, but by their skills.